Hey guys, Mr. Schultz here again. Today we're going to be looking at our power to a power rule. So far we've done our product rule, where when we see multiplication with the same base, we're going to add the exponents. We've seen our quotient rule, where when we're dividing with the same base, we subtract the exponents. Today we're going to deal with a rule called power to a power. If you can kind of see here, we've got parentheses on each of our problems. Anytime we see parentheses, we usually think distribute, or we think we're going to multiply. So when we see like a distribution problem, there's usually a number out front. So it might be like 3, we might have like x plus 2. And we're reminded, hey, when I see these parentheses, I want to be distributing or multiplying. So what we're really doing is multiplying each. 3 times x got us 3x. 3 times 2 got us 6. So as we distribute, we're multiplying. Same thing is true here when I see parentheses. I'm thinking multiplication, okay? So here, when I see my parentheses, I have x to the second power to the fourth. Okay, again, a parentheses to the fourth on the outside. So our power to a power here says I'm going to multiply 4 times 2. My answer would get us 8, okay? At the very beginning, we had talked about how we can expand these out and write these out. Essentially, what this looks like if we wrote this out expanded, it's saying we have 4 x to the seconds. So I'm like, well, it's x to the second times x to the second times x to the second times x to the second, which we could expand even more and make it x to the second is just x times 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 x. And that would get us our answer saying, hey, there's 8 x's here, so it's x to the 8th power. Okay? Again, if you like to write it out, you can totally write this thing out. Again, this would take a lot longer, but in this case, if I think, hey, I see parentheses, I know I'm going to be multiplying whenever I see those parentheses when I think distribute. So I'm just going to multiply whatever's on the outside of my parentheses times the exponent on the inside. The key word there is times the exponent on the inside. Okay? So for this first problem, I kind of erase our expanded work here. Our first problem then would just get us x to the 8. Okay? Now, this is if we only have a variable. Okay? If we only have one variable, I'm actually going to add in something else here. If we only have one variable, that's kind of what we'd be looking at. Okay? Now, down here, if we add in a second variable and a number out front, and when a number is right next to it in front, it's called a coefficient. So if you hear me say coefficient, that's all it's talking about. It's a fancy term for saying my number right in front here. Okay? So as I look across this, okay, I see parentheses, so I know I'm going to be distributing or multiplying this 2 into all the exponents inside my parentheses. So it's really obvious to see, okay, y has a 3, x has a 5. The one that's forgotten is our whole number. Our whole number has an exponent. We just don't talk about it a whole lot because it's a 1 for everything. Just like we have any other number, the 1 is up there. It doesn't really change anything until we deal with our multiplication. Okay? So here, when I start distributing, I'm going to distribute this 2 times every single exponent. Okay? Again, keyword the exponent. It's really, really tempting to just do 3 times 2. That is not what we do here. Okay? We just do the 2 times each of our exponents. So I'm going to have 3, 2 times 1 gets me to the second. 2 times 5 is x to the 10th. 2 times 3, y to the 6th. Okay? Again, parentheses, I am going to multiply. Okay? This right here looks nice, but again, I'm going to have one more step. The very first day when we talked about our exponents, I reminded us that anytime I have a whole number with an exponent, I'm going to expect you to simplify this. And what that looks like, if you have a calculator, you can type in the 3 button. So this is kind of what it would look like on your calculator if you have a like TI-30 calculator. This is what you would do. You would type in the number 3. The next button that you would hit is one that looks like this, x to the second. It is right next to the 7. So it's to the left of the 7 on your calculator if you're looking at that. It looks like this. It should show up on your calculator once you hit that. It should look just like this. And then you just hit enter and it should get you your answer. If you're thinking about it in your head, anytime it says the second power, it's saying it's 3 times 3. It's times itself twice. So you get your answer that way as well. If you're going to use your phone, you can type in, you need to turn your phone sideways, so get the scientific calculator. You would type the number 3 And then on the left side, there's another button again that looks just like this. You would hit that x squared button, and it will give you your answer as well. Okay. So those are 3 different ways you could do it. In your head, you're thinking, this is how many times I'd multiply this times itself. So 3 times 3, that's twice, will get me my answer. In a calculator, TI-30, you would hit 3 and the x squared button, which is right next to the 7 or to the left of the 7. And then if you're going to do it on your phone, you're going to turn your calculator or your phone sideways, and you're going to be able to see scientific version of the calculator. You'll type 3, and then you'll hit the x squared button, which is over on the left. Okay. So when I actually do that, the 3 squared ends up getting me 9. So my answer here would be 9x to the 10, y to the 6. Okay, so hopefully that helps as far as when we have a number involved. The biggest or the kind of scariest looking one, again, things can get bigger and a little bit scarier looking, but each individual step we can totally do, okay? So take it one thing at a time. So here I have parentheses around the entire problem, okay? So if I have a fraction with parentheses around the whole thing, I'm going to distribute this 3 to anything that's inside of its parentheses. If I had a problem, let's say like this, where I had 3x to the 5th, y to the 7th over 2, and the parentheses were just on the top part, then I'm only going to be dealing with my power to a power rule, where I distribute the exponent on the outside times the exponents on the inside of the parentheses. I would leave this 2 alone. Okay? But if it covers the entire problem, which is what we're seeing here, I'm going to distribute this 3 times all the exponents. Again, whole numbers have their own exponent. Kind of looks like a spider that's taken over this parentheses here. So I'm going to be distributing this 3 into each piece. So when I do this, 3 times 5 would get me x to the 15. 3 times 1 would get me 3. 3 times 1 down here would get me 3. And 2 times 3 would get me y to the 6. Okay. I've taken care of my distributing or my multiplying, my power to a power rule. I'm taking my number on the outside times each of the exponents on the inside. So now I need to go through and make sure I can simplify any of my whole numbers. Okay, so here I do 2 to the 3rd. Again, 2 to the 3rd is the same as 2 times 2 times 2. In your calculator, you might have to hit the arrow button. Looks like that. So you would hit 2, arrow button, 3, if you're using a calculator. If you're using your phone as a calculator, if you turn it sideways again, the scientific calculator, you would hit 2, then you would hit the button that says, I believe it looks like this, XY. You'll hit that button, and then you'll hit 3, telling you that that's the exponent it has is a 3. Okay. If you ever have any questions like that on how to type those things in, please talk to us during the Google Meet. We'll kind of explain those things a little bit better for you. So if we plug this in, 2 to the 3rd gets me 8. 2 times 2 times 2 gives me 8. X to the 15. On the bottom, again, 3 to the 3rd power is like 3 times 3 times 3, which would give me 27. Y to the 6. I can't simplify this one any further. There's nothing that I can divide by 8 and divide by 27. So this would be my final answer. Again, we'll be kind of sprinkling in some of the other things so we don't forget how to do our product rule and our quotient rule. But today's rule that we're focusing on is power to a power. Okay? So last thing, our warm-up. We've been doing a pretty good job of having those warm-ups ready to go. So our warm-up for today, I'm going to erase this real quick. It's going to be a little power to a power one. Let's go 4x to the 5th. Y to the 9th, all to the 2nd power. Okay? So warm up for today, right there, 4x to the 5th, y to the 9th, all to the 2nd power. Okay? Again, you guys should be logging in, since today is Tuesday, you guys should be logging in around 8:35 into the Google Meet, and then we'll kind of talk to you more there about our warm-up and what we've got left for the rest of the day. All right, see you guys in a little bit.